Let's talk about Sam Altman's prophecy. Maybe it has been fulfilled. Have we seen a one-person unicorn? So I'm sure many people have seen the story of Matthew Gallagher from MedVi in the New York Times or other press. Now, the business MedVi sells GLP-1 weight loss supplements. So this business being able to grow this fast is of no great surprise, with peptides doing what they do and GLP-1 absolutely blowing it out of the water with regards to everybody wanting to lose weight and yada, yada, yada. He has allegedly, and I'm going to come on to why I'm going to use these slightly mealy-mouthed words in a second. He has allegedly built a business from nothing to 400 million in a year, and by his own words, on track for $1.8 billion this year. So why am I using cagey words like maybe, allegedly, blah, blah? Well, the whole thing looks a little bit sketchy, a little bit shady, and I don't think I'm being a total cynic. Some nasty marketing stuff, several class action lawsuits. If you look behind some of the numbers and the reviews on Trustpilot, the traffic and the numbers don't quite add up, but it's all great PR. However, I don't want to talk about the shadiness. People can go and do their own research, make up their own mind. What I wanted to talk to you about, Mads, was, are we now at the threshold of a single person unicorn? Are we there? Will we ever get there? Will we ever see a single person unicorn? And maybe Mads, you can go through some of the things that Gallagher said he's done and how MedVi was built, and we can have a discussion about what we think is real and not so real.
Yeah. I mean, look, he sort of said, I've spent a couple of months, about $20,000, some ChatGPT, some Claude, some Grok, some Midjourney, some Runway. And with that, over a couple of months, I built this new platform. And as you said, he has claimed that it ramped very quickly to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. He's also claimed net margins in excess of 15%, which just sounds incredible at that level. 2026 projected at 1.8 billion with just 2 employees.
Same in his brother, right?
Yeah. So there's kind of $150 million a month with 2 guys.
Just buy a yacht, dude. You don't need to do anything. Just buy a yacht. You've done it. You won.
Well, the question is how durable it is. I'd say distribution is real business, right? Costco, Walgreens, Amazon, they're all distribution companies. So the question is not so much the category. And I think what's really interesting here is, however you look at it, that you've been able to create and underpin so much economic activity with just a couple of guys and so much automation. And is clearly heralding what's to come. How much of the value does Gallagher actually keep? I don't think we really know. 16.2% sounds high. I don't know if I really believe that number. But even if it's 10% or 5%, it's still a very, very attractive business for him, of course. So, what changes in the world where you have people able to do that? I think, we're probably still not going to fund 2 people distribution teams. I'm not sure it's venture scale at exit and it's really defensible. But I think there is a real lesson for every founder about just how much you can do.
Yes.
And how radically different you need to think about how you build companies. Smaller teams accomplishing much, much more. Pharaonic ambition in terms of what you can take on. Right. And it used to be, you would think, I need to accomplish something big. I need to raise so much money and hire hundreds of people. And it's just not the case anymore. And that's really, really interesting. I think it's really liberating for us as humanity in a phenomenal way. So I'm actually quite excited by it. The specifics of this business put to one side.
It does throw some questions for the investment community. And I was speaking to a couple of buddies yesterday about what we know that a lot of the VC dollars, for example, are now going to have to be put into the marketing and the sales and the go-to-market column, and that brand building piece. Possibly one of the only moats left is that trust and that brand piece. But it also does throw up that people won't need to raise. There will be many more niches, many more specialty businesses that can survive because very small teams have got the best lawyer, the best consultant, the best analyst, the best data scientist, the best coder in their back pockets. And I'm always intrigued as to how that is going to to play out not only in the venture capital world, but maybe down to angel investing and smaller businesses, and how that's going to create new economies. There's a lot of excitement to be seen. I have no doubts.
I think you're going to see a barbell, Dan. I think you are going to see these two-man, a three-man, a three-woman teams that are doing phenomenal things with limited resource and just are able to bootstrap. I do think if you're trying to do something big technically, going beyond just setting up a distribution business that runs on the rails of other people, i.e. you're actually operating in a frontier, doing something new, having more money, having more resource will help you. And so, yes, there's going to be a team here that tries to go it alone, 2, 3, 4 people, but they're going to be competing with another team that raises some capital and has 30, 40, 50 people. And all else equal, that team will be able to get more done. And so we'll have a better chance of winning. So I don't think you're going to see a complete, nobody will ever need to raise money anymore. But I do think it enables us to go after different things. And we've seen it. The level of ambition we see from teams today is at a completely different scale.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, AI has awakened the world in so many positive ways. There's lots of fear, anxiety, and doom and gloom in the headlines because that's what headlines do. But there is a whole world of ambition and drive and excitement, I think, that it is countering those forces.